Hello and welcome to interview program. In this episode we have UNODC Regional Advisor Reda Sirgediene, and we're going to discuss the issues of human trafficking, its prevention, and how to avoid being trapped in this crime. Hello Reda, and thank you for coming.
Hello, good afternoon or good day.
I know that you're a very busy person and now me bothering you with my questions.
I'm happy to be here and to share my knowledge.
You know I'm broke. Financially, and as a consequence morally, I'm looking for a well-paid job and I'm trying to do my best, but nothing happens. And recently I met a person who is very nice, intelligent, and I feel like I've known him for my whole life. He understands my problems. And he offered a very promising job abroad. And I think that this is a salvation. This is a panacea to all my problems. Here we go. I see the change in your eyes as you noticed a red flag. Whenever I read about the human trafficking, I go through the articles, I see exactly the same story. And this story, it looks like a base for human trafficking cases, isn't it?
Yeah, you have touched on a very serious situation, actually the situation which is experienced by really many people around the world, including Central Asia, including Uzbekistan. One of the means used to trap people into exploitation in human trafficking cases is namely vulnerability. And it is misused around the world, around 90% of all cases, what you have outlined now. Vulnerable people are mostly approached by traffickers with some really attractive job offers. Very often those job offers are abroad, quite often also in another region, another city, or in a big city for village people. And when you are in such a vulnerable situation, you don't have a job or you have very low income, you have dependent family members, parents, or many children, or jobless family members, you are striving to get income somewhere. And such a situation when someone suggests a very attractive job offer, or it's just attractive opportunity, you want to grab it. But as you noted, always we need to have in our mind that there's a red flag in such a situation.
Just to clarify, this situation is not about me, it's just an example from an article I encountered recently.
You're right, because there are many such cases, and it's like basic, at the core of the problem, vulnerability. When you are in such vulnerable situation, you will take any job proposal, and traffickers are very good psychologists.
Even like in most of the cases, they write they pretended to be some successful businessman, and they do not do, for example, these kind of gestures, and this person is just an exemption, so do not share it with your family, with your close ones and friends, and just so no one knows about it. And
yes, you're right. Now we have spoken about labor exploitation, right? How people might be tricked, but there is another side, and the majority of cases still in Uzbekistan relate to trafficking persons to sexual exploitation. What happens in such a case? And again, you touched a very good moment. There is a lover boy scheme everywhere in the world, the same in Central Asia and the same in Uzbekistan. When a good-looking man approaches a girl and saying that he is in love with her, he's attracted, after some time buying some presents, he invites her to travel abroad for vacations, to show something because she has never seen, she is from a poor family, etc. Again, it's a red flag. Why? Because he is a good-looking man, imitates that he is a successful businessman, let's say, though even he is not, driving an expensive car, well-dressed, and the girl from a village area is invited for vacations. We have investigated many cases when I still was a police officer, when girls were brought abroad for vacations, but they were forced into sexual exploitation in brothels. Just this imitation again shows that the girls have to understand really why this attractive man is putting so much effort in our friendship if I'm from different surrounding, different level, different education, let's say, even maybe I do not have a job or just I'm still at school. Again, we need to understand, that usually everything happens because of some reason. And then, we have to be very careful evaluating, I'm really the right person for this job offer.
There is human trafficking, basically trafficking persons, and smuggling of migrants. So what is the difference between those two?
Right, a very good question. Sometimes those two crimes are mixed. Those are two different crimes. Trafficking in persons is the crime when traffickers, based on our example as well, approach vulnerable people with very attractive offers. Offers might relate to anything, but of course promising huge money. So there are traffickers who recruit vulnerable people, approach them with this proposal, offering something very attractive, then transports to some location and forces into exploitation. As regards smuggling of migrants, people themselves look for someone who could facilitate the illegal entry into another country, into the country in which they do not have legal permission to stay or live. For example, there is a very famous route described everywhere from Uzbekistan via Mexico to United States of America. It's very attractive, and the majority of people are mentioned being from Samarkand region. So people who organize this illegal business, this crime, they get huge money. And even I read in online sources that sometimes $30,000 of United States are requested for this facilitation, illegal entry into United States. So the person himself or herself looks for this possibility. The same himself pays money for criminals, and criminals try to facilitate this illegal entry. So smuggling of migrants is the crime where the person himself or herself wants to reach the country in which the person cannot stay legally, and trafficking in persons, just traffickers approach vulnerable people and offer something attractive, keeping in mind that they could earn from exploitation a lot. However, I need to mention that those two crimes are very related. Why? Many migrants using criminals to enter another country appear in a vulnerable situation upon arrival. Because they are illegal in the country, they spend all their money which they had, they need to earn from somewhere, but they cannot legally apply anywhere. In such a cases, there are networks of criminals which inform traffickers, look, there are vulnerable people from, let's say, Central Asia. You can approach, offer whatever you wish. They will grab this possibility because they don't have money. They are illegally. And very often people appear in trafficking situation after being smuggled into another country.
What is important in combating this crime? Many people say that effective, let's say, law enforcement.
From my practice, I can tell that trafficking in persons is really a very profitable crime, as well as smuggling of persons. Why? Because there is very little risk. For example, from my cases, law enforcement stop a trafficker and the victim at borders, and the victim, not realizing that already it is planned to exploit her or him, says that, I go myself together with this person for work, or I am in love with this person, we are like a peer going abroad for vacations, and denies any fact, any possibility to appear in the exploitation. And even though law enforcement warns don't go, because we suspect it might be a crime of trafficking, continues traveling.
I mean, many people think that from the government side, effective law enforcement is the main prevention. But just in my opinion, there are other preventions as well. For example, effective poverty reduction strategies, the work of mahallas in propaganda, like explaining every person. So, is there something else?
Yeah, I fully agree. Countering trafficking in persons, it's a multidisciplinary task. Everyone has to be involved, and we need. There are pull and push factors, so we need to tackle many different aspects, including education, including poverty, including employment, including equal rights, gender dimension, human rights protection, proper legislation, proper implementation at local level, proper services, assistance in Makalas, as you were saying. Also encouraging active non-governmental sector involvement or civil society sector involvement, awareness raising for everyone, that people understand what it is and how prevent what we are discussing today, what we need to evaluate to prevent ourselves from being trapped into the situation. Effective law enforcement work is also very important in the sense that they involve not only in prevention but also in detection of such cases. It's a latent crime, it's a hidden crime. Usually people do not come themselves, so law enforcement have to reveal those crimes. So proactive investigation is very important. Then prosecution, evidence collection, then adjudication in courts of the cases, then assistance for victims through all the process and after integration back. Because based on research of scientists, if symptoms of health disorder does not disappear for victim in 6 months, it means some of them will remain for the whole life. It means sometimes exploited victims of trafficking need assistance all their life. Like, some nightmares or some health disorders like trembling or pain, back pain, whatever might remain for life. Or some, like if a woman was in sexual exploitation, she might be afraid of men, etc., and she cannot go alone. So all those related problems, are involving many specialists. And also social sector psychologists, also teachers at school have to take into account, doctors, all medical staff. Everything is so related, and it's really on state level. Many agencies are involved in this work, and actually proper coordination is needed. And to coordinate so many actors, it's really a huge challenge for the government.
Recently, there was an article where Uzbek citizens, female citizens, they sent a video to the journalist, to informational agency, saying that they've been exposed to human trafficking in India, and they've been there for a long time. They informed the embassy, but still no actions. So from your experience, how hard is it to save the person, and what steps you should go through?
We receive much information about such situations. It's actually happening around. I would like also to warn everyone that there are many messages in Telegram offering jobs abroad, including India. And I had a recent case discussed with colleagues about also job offer in another country. And it was so realistic that the person accepted, arrived, and then understood that it was not a job, but it was sexual exploitation, and the person ran away, luckily. So yes, this Telegram channel has to be really, the information there has to be checked, and the person, as we have discussed, have to check everything, the competence, knowledge, leave the contacts, check the company, maybe get contract before, meet in person, meet with someone, trying to get as much information as possible, checking in the internet about the company, maybe liaising with the embassy in that country to get information. So it's the one part. The second part, is it difficult to investigate? From my experience, I have to outline that it's mutual. If our authorities are helpful with information sharing and evidence collection for another country, this another country will always help, or almost always help us. So concretely, India, I do not know exactly how the cooperation is ongoing, how it is active, because it is not my job actually, to go into operational police work here. Just I'm advising and can consult based on my experience. But to investigate such cases, let's say, practically all cases can be investigated. It depends on a few factors. First, on willingness to investigate. Second, on experience, how to do it. but you get experience only working. It means you need to have motivation to be experienced. Yeah, sometimes also good luck plays some role, because sometimes you get information about the fact too late, to collect evidence. Yeah, you can assist victim, you can send for services, for rehabilitation, but you cannot collect evidence because it's too late. The evidence are destroyed. I have had such cases as well. But if the person himself or herself reports about a potential crime, it's very easy. We name it as reactive investigation. It's easy in the sense that you have a victim. The victim tells a story. Based on the story, you just need to go back reactively and to collect evidence, right? If you need to apply to another country, you use official channel, issue a legal request via your authorized institution, sent to another country, asking to collect evidence. You get evidence, evaluate, and you have a case. But on the other hand, if the victim himself or herself comes or informs about the crime, it's a bit complicated in the sense that everything already happened, and you need to go back and collect evidence on what has happened. It might be complicated because traffickers are also sophisticated, and especially if there is organized crime, they destroy everything immediately. If they feel that there is danger, they destroy, or they leave this place, they move somewhere else. Usually they act and forge the IDs and forge the driver's license, etc. So better is to investigate proactively, to investigate criminals proactively. When the crime is committed, you react immediately. So you say victims and you freeze evidence. If it happens in another country and you are in a good contact, that's why I'm saying it's very important to help other countries as well in their investigations. You can contact immediately. You don't need to wait until some letters go around. You can call just, there is Interpol channels. There is embassy, which is representative of the country. There are liaison offices in some countries. So just you react, it's one call, it's a couple of minutes already. The other law enforcement agencies there can be approached and they can start their work. And then parallelly you can send a letter via Interpol, it's very fast, just a couple of sentences. Via embassy the same. To investigate an international trafficking case is not complicated, but I'm saying motivation, experience, and some good luck sometimes. And this concrete case related to India, if cooperation with Indian authorities are good, so they will help to collect evidence. If it is not good, we need to put more efforts to set up such cooperation for our future work, to be able to collect evidence and be fast and proactive in our work.
We have the ministries and agencies, and we have a special committee on human trafficking related to this crime, and we know their work. But what is UNODC's work and help to the government, not only in Uzbekistan, for the Central Asia, in countering this crime?
Yeah, I'm always glad to speak about our activities. Actually, UNODC, the office here in Tashkent is a regional office. We cover 5 Central Asian countries and 3 Southern Caucasus countries. I'm as regional advisor mostly working with 5 Central Asian countries, and based on my law enforcement background, mostly I am here for advising and mentoring as regards detection, investigation of trafficking persons and smuggling of migrants cases. In general, UNODC renders technical assistance for member states with a special focus on implementation of the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime and the protocols on trafficking persons and smuggling of migrants, through advice and mentoring how to be successful implementing international documents, introducing international standards and best practices in our member states, including this region. So I'm here to share our experience, our vision, our support to be successful in countering those 2 crimes. How we do it, we not only consult, but also we support in development of strategies and legal acts, laws, legal acts, standard operating procedures for all practitioners who need it. Also, we organize capacity building sessions. It means training how to detect the crime, what evidence to collect, how to identify victims, where refer to for assistance, on development of international cooperation. What I was discussing about this Indian case, we have a really huge capacity to facilitate national authorities in developing international cooperation through coordination meetings, through study visits, through joint training sessions, workshops, and whatever is needed. If it is needed in India, yeah, please, we can arrange it. If it is needed like other target countries for Uzbekistan, and they want to attract attention that not only India for Uzbeks might be a country of destination, but also Thailand, United Arab Emirates, Russia, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, Georgia, Turkey, the countries which are quite often mentioned in trafficking cases and with which we can really work closely by facilitating the communication and cooperation. In addition, we can organize awareness raising campaigns like, spread the message, assist these authorities to spread the message.
And as a conclusion of our interview, if you could repeat again how to protect yourself from being trapped in the trafficking in-person situation.
The most important to check information. Check information thinking about competence, about your education, about your competence, experience, and the attractive proposal. For example, I'm approached by someone and said, look, you are so nice, so good person, I have a good job offer, let's say in Germany. It's 3,000 euros, you will need only to clean in a hotel. You don't need any skills, any language, just go. Okay, it's good. I don't have any knowledge of the foreign language, I don't have any skills, and I don't need for cleaning, correct. However, there is one red flag. 3,000 euros just for cleaning in a hotel. Is it realistic?
I wouldn't say so.
In open sources in internet, we can check, okay, what is the minimum salary or the average salary in that country? No more. If the job doesn't require skills, doesn't require language knowledge, it means I will not get a lot, maximum up to average salary in that country. Please check it. Don't go for 3,000 euros knowing that you are doing unskilled job. So also, not only checking, try to sign a contract before leaving the country. Check all the conditions. Sometimes already in the conditions you will see that it's too tricky or not everything is described. Another red flag, ask where you will stay. Usually traffickers promise that accommodation will be provided. Okay, check. In many trafficking cases, if you are promised to live in the same premises as you work or nearby, it's really a huge red flag. Usually it's, trafficked victims live in the exploitation place, exploitation site. Then also I would suggest to leave pictures and personal data of the recruiter or trafficker with whom you are traveling or who promised this job. Even openly you can say, look, I need your document, I will leave for my family, that in case something happens, they know where to look for me. Even take a picture, and if the person avoids and starts threatening, it's already a red flag, just stop communicating. If threats continue, I would suggest to inform law enforcement immediately, because usually based on practice, threats will not stop unless you pay some amount. But of course, if you are in a vulnerable situation, you don't have money. So better to inform immediately, and the police will advise you what to do further, and the investigation will be started for this, than to wait and try to solve on your own. It will be very tricky and it will be very difficult. You might be beaten, you might be trafficked anyway, and you'll appear in exploitation in the end. Check the embassy details or consulate details in case you need to escape and approach for assistance. Embassies help, and really you can approach them in another country. Check NGO contacts, non-governmental organizations contacts in that country in case you need some help and you need to spend some night and you don't have money. They can shelter you or can buy food for the beginning, until you can return back. It might be that traffickers tell that you cannot apply to law enforcement there because you are illegal migrant, etc. Don't trust it. Go anyway. Because if you can be victimized, better to inform the police in advance and save yourself than to wait until you're exploited and you will appear in the police anyway when the crime is detected. Actually, those are the most important aspects. And of course, now, like I used to say that never trust promises about really huge salary in case you don't have education and you don't have competence or skills. Because first, traffickers will offer this to their family members and relatives, to their friends, then to some person who is not known to them.
So be aware, cautious, check, logical,
ask,
and if some offer looks too good, that might be the sign of human trafficking.
Yes, skip it.
Skip it. Reda, thank you very much for coming here and explaining us the human trafficking and the measures to prevent it.
With pleasure, thank you.